All right. Hey guys, I'm Marcus,
I'm Zach.
and this is Beyond Rock Bottom. This is our podcast. First, I want to apologize. We haven't recorded a couple of videos the last couple of weeks. That's mainly because of my relapse. I have a new dry date, and that's May 1st of 2025. Um, yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and kick off this episode with. I guess the topic is also too on topic with what I just said, but from rock bottom to redemption. Stories about our relapses and how we overcame them.
Yeah, I think we could go into a lot about that. Um, you want me to start or you want to start?
I mean, I can let's see. I can start with one for sure. I remember in in um, early recovery, I was like, I did the sober thing. I went in and out of rehab a couple of times, like two times, and then like maybe my second or third rehab, I was like, all right, God, like when is it going to happen, right? Like when is this thing going to happen outside myself that helps me change and helps me be able to maintain sobriety for like a long period of time. And for a long time I was looking outside myself, I was looking around, I was, and like, spiritual experiences they talk about in the book, they look differently to people, and I had a couple, right, of spiritual experiences, whether they be changes in my mindset, um forgiving something that happened in my past. So these are things I was doing inside, but when I was looking for it to happen, like, I guess you can say the psychic change, right? I was looking for it outside myself. And it wasn't until, dude, I started working the steps where I was like, oh, like it happens within me. It happens over time. Like it's not gonna be one moment, one burning bush, and everything's gonna change for me. Yeah, that's one like lesson I can speak about for right now. I have many more, but I would like to hear your input.
Mm, well, I feel like, I don't know. I think I've had a lot of rock bottoms. Um, some higher than others, but this last time was probably about the lowest I got, I would have like suicidal ideation, when I was using. I got very like isolated in my drug use, which is crazy because like I'd always end up relapsing, chasing this idea that I could be like,
Continue.
yeah, that I could be like some normal 20-year-old, Um, but damn, that messed me
Just
up.
lock in.
I
Just
know I
lock in.
lock
Yeah.
in, right? Um, well, like okay, this last time, right, I tried to kill myself. For the first time ever. Like I would wake up, and I would be pissed off like that I have to do this again. Um, my life was just like it was shitty. I didn't want to live anymore, And when I got caught, I finally got caught. Like had been hiding my use for a few months, and I got caught, and I don't know. I just wanted to. I just thought like life was over, so I tried to kill myself. I just took all the drugs I had and tried to end it. Um, so I think that it's weird, like, cause I've had like a lot of shit happen, and from the outside you would think like some of the other situations would be my rock bottom, but getting to that point and wanting to like just for life to end, I think that was like the lowest I've ever got, and and I acted out on that thought that I've been thinking for so long in active addiction, like I just wish I wouldn't wake up, like I wish I didn't have to do this again. Um, anyways, like I came to in this hospital room, and that was like the start of the journey I'm on now. I didn't have any intention of getting clean and sober. You know, I just um I just didn't see any other option. Like I I, I failed at killing myself. So like what else? What else? Like I feel like that's the only other option.
And before that, have you ever had like, they say it in the room, like a taste of freedom? Like, have you ever felt what like
Yeah,
healthy sobriety felt like?
yeah, and like I said, I think I majority of my relapses were always like I would try to be like a normal person, you know, and a lot of them centered around this idea that I wasn't an alcoholic. Um, I was just a drug addict, and as long as I get rid of the drugs, I can introduce alcohol into my life, and I can do that responsibly. And it never worked out how I wanted it to. But the first time I felt some freedom from recovery, I was 20 years old.
How old are you now?
I'm 26. Uh, but I was 20 years old, and it was the longest I'd gotten clean and sober prior to what I have right now, you know. And I I got into the rooms. I started going to like YPOC conferences, young people AA. I got like really connected. Like for the first time, like I had like some actual friends, you know, that like I wasn't trying to get anything from them. They weren't trying to get anything from me. Like they were just genuine, authentic relationships, and I just felt like a part of and I hadn't felt like that
It's
in
a
a
pretty good
long
feeling.
time, you know. But I was 20, and I remember I turned 21 in sober living, and that shit just ate away at me, bro. Like I was so bitter, you know. I'm like, what? Who the fuck turns 21 in sober living? You know, like everybody else is 21. They're going out to the bars and doing normal 21-year-old shit, you know.
So would
And
you say like you were resentful?
yeah, in a way, you know. But I also was like, what am I doing? You know, like I can be like that. And I ultimately ended up relapsing that time in an attempt to be like a normal.
I think this is a good point too. Like, so did you stop working a program over time? Like, did you slow down on meetings or any of the service work you were doing? Because you mentioned you were at YPaw and stuff, and like, or did that thought just overpower all the service and stuff you were doing?
So like I got a taste of recovery at that point, but I don't think like I really was all in, you know. Um I hadn't done really any work on myself. Um
Were you working the steps?
I did, but I think I just ran through them just to like say I got through them, you know. I never like I've never been like a big reader or anything, you know. So like really hard for me to like pay attention to the literature, and I I don't know. I didn't I guess when it comes down to it, I really just didn't take this shit as serious as it is, you know?
Hmm.
Like now sitting here today, like I can tell you like this is a matter of life or death. But back then I didn't see that, you know? Everybody else saw that. Everybody else was like, you're gonna fucking die if you keep doing this shit, you know? And I'm it's like, no, I'm
Me?
me, no,
No,
I'm fucking
there's no way.
like I'm invincible. Y'all don't understand, you know? And
I used to say I have tiger blood. Like that shit. I
yeah,
think who said that? There was some famous guy that says that.
yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, I forget who that was.
Oh, I remember the name, but I feel like we should probably shouldn't say it
Yeah.
anyway. Shout out Charlie Sheen. Go ahead.
um, but yeah, the I went into rehab that time or to sober living because I got really like bad on meth and Xanax, and when I relapsed after that is when I fell into fentanyl. And if I hadn't realized how like much of a serious situation my addiction was, like after I fell into that drug, I started to really understand the reality and the gravity of it, you
Would you
know?
say your rock bottom got lower when you started using that drug?
Hell yeah. Um, but it's like different rock bottoms, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
can relate to that a lot. Different rock bottoms.
because like I remember being on meth and you'd be in these like psychosis, you know, and like that shit seems so fucking real, but it's not, you know,
Hmm.
and like that's a dark place. But like when I fell into fentanyl, I really just like I think after my first overdose, um, I really just stopped giving a fuck about my life, you know. And I just fell deeper into it, and um, I it took over everything in my life, and but I think that that's like another big point into life from rock bottom to redemption, is like I went through all these like overdoses and I shouldn't have survived, and car crashes and being in sketchy situations. I used to I used to go in like it was crazy. Like I'd have my own apartment, but I didn't want to do the things that people with like like normal people did. So I would walk downtown, and I would go down into this river bottom with all the homeless people, and I would do drugs with homeless people, and then come back at the end of the day and go back to my apartment. Like it was just fucking insane, you
Sounds
know.
like an adventure, definitely.
And bro, but like the shit, like I saw some shit down there, and that
For sure.
that shit will probably be ingrained in my head for the rest of my life. And but like I'm sitting here today and I realized that like I had to go through all that shit, because it's gonna allow me to like help somebody else. And I didn't. I remember like coming out of overdoses and being like, why the fuck would you like? Why am I still here? And like a bunch of my friends passed away one time from getting a bad perk, you know, and they're dead. They had so much potential. They had so much life in front of them, and they didn't make it. But me, who's intentionally doing this shit, who really like doesn't value their own life, like I make it. So I think I had like a lot of survivor's guilt aimed towards that. But it wasn't until this last sobriety that I realized like it was for a reason. Um, like I'm meant to do more than just become a statistic.
For sure. I remember when you first moved here to Lubbock, I like not to sugarcoat or anything, but like you found your voice. You know what I mean? I see you stepping into like who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing, and like it looks really good. Like I remember the things you struggled with and stuff when you came here, and
Yeah,
so just seeing you like come over that. Talking on this platform now, and sharing your experience, strength, and hope. It's very inspiring.
yeah, bro, and this shit's uncomfortable as hell. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, like, but that's like a big part of my recovery is pushing myself out of my comfort zone because I can't get anywhere if I just sit in comfort, you
hmm
know?
Sometimes too, the comfortable places that the places that are comfortable for us don't make us feel good. Like it's just that we did those things for so like using drugs. You know what I mean? Rolling a bowl or putting a needle to your arm. Like that's a place of comfort for us in our brains because that was our safety before, and like now it's so tricky when we get to a certain place in life and we're thinking like, oh, you know what, like that seems like a good idea, and like what normal person, normal, right? What normal person is like, you know what, like I want to smoke meth today. Like that's how it was for me, and that's just the reality of my disease, right? But like I got to remember that those things that I assume are comfortable or I assume are going to make me feel as good as they used to, got to remember that they don't. Like they make me feel like shit. You were touching on your rock bottom a little bit, and I just wanted to touch up on mine too. It's kind of similar to like, so I remember being in places like in trap houses mixed with people that were like, and I remember it's funny because like I remember them having conversations like of hustling, right? Like they were trying to come up with money, whether it be selling drugs or hitting licks and stuff. And like I was just there high, like it just happy to be there just because I was high. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't, and I had a place to go
yeah,
where these people didn't. You know what I mean? And I remember at that time, still I was still like in my high stage, like where there was no consequences yet. But when the consequences started to arrive, and even like I did time in 2020, right? Like that wasn't really even my rock bottom. Like my rock bottom was when I was spiritually bankrupt and emotionally sick, like when I hated myself and like I did not want to wake up, like crying, smoking dope. Like while I'm smoking dope, I'd be crying. Like those were the dark times. There was times where I was homeless. There was times, where I had to sleep outside. Not many. There was like one or two or three nights, but those weren't really rock bottom for me. And it's funny because like when I came into rehab for the first time, I'd relapse, go back to rehab, relapse, go back to rehab. But it wasn't like, and then some of those nights I was homeless, right? And like I wasn't in rock bottom there. I was in rock bottom in here, because I would just go back to rehab. But like that first couple weeks in rehab, I'm like, fuck me, fuck this. Like, can I even stay sober? Like that was me rock bottom. Like when I didn't believe in myself and when I wasn't, inviting God into my life on a regular basis. And also too, you said like feeling a part of is like a really good part of recovery. That
Mhm.
was huge for me, dude. Like that that was like a feeling I couldn't shake my entire life, like feeling like always excluded from the group. Like I can be in the middle of these people, like right, like 15 people, right, whatever, or at a party or whatever, and I still feel absent or like excluded. I'm running track with my friends in high school and still like excluded, just don't feel a part of. And I'm just really grateful today. Like I've learned new ways to cope, new ways to like soothe myself and new ways to like feel good. Whether it be the gym or hanging out with friends, playing pickleball, even. Um, I'm still looking into like my purpose and stuff, but like something. So I just wanted to touch up to a little bit on this most recent relapse. Like, so I stopped. I bottom lines, I kind of stopped working the program. Right, I stopped going to H and I's or chairing H and I's because I wanted to prioritize my job, and then that happened. Right, and then I kind of just was like not on fire about sponsoring people, and then there was a lot of good things happening in my life, and for some reason, like I was in doubt or fear that I wasn't moving in the right direction. And I kept like, I was like, I feel like I was demanding a little bit too much from God. I was like, hey, show me a sign where to go. And I feel like wasn't getting those answers. And then so the relationship with my higher power kind of started to diminish as well. And then I moved in with a friend,
Mm.
changed my living situation from a sober living with structure and UAs and community, right? And then I went to a place where obviously I can get high if I wanted to. And that's what I did. Um, and it was just like, let me see if I can do it. But really quickly, I go back to the same things that take me to my rock bottom. A week ago today, like no, not a week ago, 2 weeks ago today, like I was in a hotel room by myself, feeling spiritually bankrupt, emotionally sick, you know. But I remember there was this one relapse I had. I was out of rehab. I wasn't really working a program at all. I didn't even have a sponsor even to. Um, I made it like 3 months sober, kind of just white knuckling it. And I had this friend, Normie guy, like we'd go to the lake and stuff. I met him like donating plasma in Pflugerville, which is a town north of Austin. And I met this guy, and whatever we started hitting it, like just talking after donating plasma. I was like, "Hey, can you give me a ride home?" It's like, "Yeah." And so we'll talk to girls at the lake or whatever. And one day after donating plasma, he's like, "Let's go to Bombshells."
Mm.
So it's like one of those like Twin
Yeah.
Peaks Hooters restaurants, right? Shout out to my Bombshells girls. Um,
Stupid.
but So we go and we're getting off the car, and so when we met, like the first week we met, we are hanging out. I was like, dude, like I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, like, and I love to fucking joke about my disease for some reason. Like I'll be like, yeah, like I can't do that because I'm a fucking drug addict, right? I think it's funny, but
Yeah.
so I told him, and so me knowing that about myself, I told him like, hey, if I ever tell you should I drink a beer, tell me no, right? So and of course the opportunity presents itself. A week later, we're going to Bombshells, and he's like, I tell him, hey, I drink a beer or what? And he was like, yeah, you'll be fine, just a couple beers. I was like, you know what? I will be fine. I'll
Yeah.
be good this time. I haven't been to rehab 3 times this year. Let's go ahead and give it a shot, man. And just like this time, a week later, I had hard drugs. You know what I mean? I was sitting there smoking it, right? Immediately back to spiritually bankrupt and emotionally sick. um and but in that instance, I learned too that like in no way, shape, or form can I depend my recovery on other people, like in no way. And that's kind of when too also too is like, this is like, it's on me. You know what I mean? I need to learn more about myself, even as a joke, right? Like, hey, you think I can drink a beer? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Like that's me putting my recovery on somebody else.
Yeah.
And they don't know what it's like who am I to put that on someone that's not in recovery? Like if I ask my brothers in recovery, like, hey, can you hold me accountable to this and this, like they're gonna do it. Why? Because they understand where I'm from. They know exactly what I'm struggling with. um and yeah, so just learning how to get up. Moving through shame is a big one for me too. Like, I remember shame and guilt would keep, like, in my active addiction, it kept me down for a long time. Once I got a taste of freedom, um shame didn't hold me back too much, but like, and dude, like I kept myself at rock bottom even in recovery. And like, that's weird, right? Like, what do you mean you're at rock bottom when you're sober, right? Like, still I was a dry drunk. I wasn't working on my resentments. I wasn't talking to myself even in a positive way. Like I was being mean to myself. And it's funny, like, what do you mean being mean to yourself? Like, well, when you're struggling with doubt and a negative self talk, like it seems so like small, but like the way I talk to myself is big. Like especially with this relapse, I had to come I had to come back into recovery with a good attitude because if I don't, it's just gonna keep me out. And I had an opportunity to stay out there, getting high, like in hotels and stuff with people that I knew. I don't want to do that. That's it's a shitty ass place to be. And damn, that just also reminds me too, like it's hard coming back into the rooms. It's hard going from rock bottom to redemption. Like no matter who you are, like and no matter in what instance, right? Like we're talking about recovery, but everybody has rock bottom. Everyone goes through it.
Yeah.
So to move from that to that rock bottom to redemption is hard. And I was talking to my girlfriend the other day. She was like, I think she's like, I just want to hit the finish line. I forgot exactly the context of what we were talking about. I was like, plot twist, you never cross the finish line. Like this is life. Like
Yeah. I think you saying that reminded me. I've heard it a lot, a few times. Like recovery and sobriety, right? It's not a linear path. As in, like, it's not gonna be just like a straight to the finish line. Like
straight
they're
to the top.
straight to the top, right? Like I mean,
Sounds good.
like your most recent relapse. That's like a perfect example. Like I've been a chronic relapser too. Like I said, like the first time. I mean, I got sent away to my first rehab when I was 14, but I've attempted for myself to really get this when I was 20, and I'm 26 now, and I'm
I'm
just
curious, how long were you sober when you were 20, 21? Like,
like 4 months, 4 months, maybe a little bit more than that.
so are you like right now being 6 months? How long are you clean today?
6 months.
6 months. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Um, is this the longest you've ever been sober?
Yeah, like honestly, because I used to like say that because I remember my relapse when I was 20. Had it was like slow.
What do you mean?
There was somebody, I think, in my sober living right around when I was had like 4 months. He had Suboxone, right, and they weren't testing for Suboxone. Um, and I would get like the strips from him. This is before like I had my opiate addiction. So like if anybody knows what Suboxone does to you when you don't have an opiate, bro, that shit fucks you up. And
I've never tried it. I've heard.
well, like ended up becoming dependent on methadone, which is way worse. But back then, like I started my relapse with Suboxone. I shouldn't say way worse. Sorry, it helped saves a lot. It saved my life. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that Matt that doesn't help people. I just started to abuse it. But
What's MAT, the MAT program for people who might not know?
it's medically assisted treatment.
Good job. Remember the acronym.
I know, right? No, it's like Suboxone, methadone. I think naltrexone falls into that category too. But naltrexone's different. It's not.
Well, it's for alcohol too, right? So
Yeah,
technically
but
that is MAT.
like Suboxone and methadone are both controlled substances. Now,
Right.
naltrexone is not. Naltrexone just blocks that receptor in your
Mm-hmm.
brain, so if you try to get high, it really doesn't do anything.
Right. It doesn't get you high. Real quick, I guess since we're on the topic, I think it's interesting. Like, do you want to touch a little bit like how like the MAT program helped you?
I mean, it helped me because I couldn't stop doing fentanyl and heroin and shit. And I say fentanyl and heroin because I was so tired of doing fentanyl. I would be like, I'm just gonna like wean myself off with some heroin. So dude, I have all these instances in my active addiction where I think I'm a fucking doctor.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
like like even this last time, right? Like I ended up trying to kill myself with a bunch of Xanax and fucking methadone. But the reason I had the Xanax was because I was tired of shooting up meth, so I was gonna use the Xanax to wean myself off the meth. But then I got caught and I made that attempt. But yeah, I was basically just, I got, my wife kicked me out of the apartment, I was fucking, I just couldn't stop doing drugs. And I was homeless. I was still working, but I was homeless, and I was spending all my money on drugs, and on fentanyl, and it. I was dependent at that point, obviously,
Hmm.
So like, and I think like one of the scariest things when I was in my active addiction, like my opiate addiction, was like the fear of getting sick, dude. Because getting sick, like, that shit is horrific. Like when you
Yeah.
which is going into withdrawal. For anybody that doesn't know, but like opiate withdrawals are fucking terrible, and I was just constantly trying not to be sick, So I was really afraid of like attempting to try to like stop by myself, and I don't know. I decided to just seek out methadone, and I got on a low dose of methadone, like prescribed to me, at the methadone clinic, and I was still using while taking the methadone for a while, and they started to increase my dose, and I slowly weaned myself off the fentanyl and heroin, and like it, I things were better, and I don't know if it was. Well, I know what it was, like I wasn't hiding anymore. Like I could be honest about being on methadone. I can't be like, people are gonna be a little bit more accepting of that than they are gonna be like, okay, you're doing fentanyl,
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but they started me on a low dose. I think they started me on 30 milligrams, and I was on methadone for a couple of years. Um, and when I tried to kill myself with my take homes, because after you're at the methadone clinic, right, they give you some take home um, bottles, so you don't have to go in every day. Like, as long as you're as long as you're giving a clean piss test to them, which I started to cheat the system. Like I've shared on the podcast before, I used to like bring fake pee and stuff and cheat the system. Like I was using the entire time. I was doing meth the entire time, but giving clean piss tests. So I was allowed to get take homes, and anyways, I started on 30 milligrams, and by the end of it, I was well over 200. Um, and that was because I continued to bump my dose, I think, in an effort to like feel something from it, like it went from stopping my withdrawals and like doing what it's supposed to do to a point where like I was learning how to like get away with abusing it through the system, like um
Hell yeah, as we do.
yeah. And I could go into like a bunch of different discussions about that because it was a little bit too easy, like I said, I really think if I had continued to use fentanyl, I would die, because I mean, I've overdosed so many times, and eventually the fucking chances run out, and I was getting there, and methadone saved me in the beginning, but I started to abuse it, and it was just a little bit too easy. I could go into the clinic and be like, "Yeah, I'm just feeling kind of shitty," I'm not, like,
Gotta clean you away.
yeah, but it's weird too, like, but I could just constant like the system is weird. It's almost like they want you to like stay on this shit for the rest of your life. Um, and I might get a little bit of backlash for saying that, but that's how I felt,
The system's not gonna be mad.
Because see, like I went from 30 milligrams to almost 200 milligrams, which is a fucking, well, a little over 200, high ass dose, dude.
Yeah,
Like
I had a friend that had it, and but like some of them start like at 5, right?
yeah. So it's really dependent on like your status when you come in. Like they wanted me to like when I checked into that methadone clinic. They wanted me to do my intake, make sure that I was just starting to like get sick, you know. So I listened, and I feel so bad. This dude, I'm pretty. He got fired like a little not too long after this, but he was doing my intake at the methadone clinic, you know, and I hadn't used in a few hours, and I'm starting to just get sick. And he's slow as fuck on the computer, putting all my information in, man. And just slowly, I'm getting sick, a little bit more sick, a little bit more sick, and dude, like so slow. And I snapped on him, dude. I was going through like mad withdrawals in the office. I'm like, can you hurry the fuck up? Like, look like a crazy person,
Yeah, I mean,
bro.
you were fucking withdrawing off opiates. That just makes you
Yeah.
into a crazy person.
Um.
That's valid.
So if you see this, I'm sorry.
That one guy.
Like I felt bad because I think he was like a new dude, you know. He's like an intern or something, you know. He was just trying to learn the system, but like I didn't give a shit.
Happens sometimes.
Anyways,
Yeah, I want to take a different path here in the
yeah.
conversation. So like we're talking about rock bottom to redemption. You know what I mean? How we go from here to here. So what are some like extracurricular activities besides recovery, or they could be part of in a way, but like besides like working the 12 steps, calling your sponsor, going to meetings, and also I want to exclude the gym.
Damn,
Yeah, come
bro.
on, bro. Okay, I want to touch in. I want to ask you also later what the gym does for you, but like right now, can you tell me anything maybe that helps you get from rock bottom to redemption?
Dude, it's crazy because I never thought I would be like the type of person to be like, oh yeah, prayer and meditation, but like for real, dude, like I used to just the whole prayer and God thing has been like a constant growing journey, you know. Um, if you would have asked me 180 days ago, like about my relationship with God and like where I was at with that, you know, I would feel really uncomfortable, and I wouldn't be open talking about it, you know, because I really didn't know where I stood with that. And since then, I've gained like I have a really good relationship with God, and I
Shout out Clarence.
shit. But dude, I pray and I meditate every day, and meditation I avoided it so long because when I think of meditation, I think of like sitting on a yoga mat in the park and you got like your like fingers crossed and shit. And, like yeah,
um,
like some woo woo whatever. Like which is cool. Like if that works, like if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not hating, but like that's not my brain does not shut the fuck up. So it takes a lot for me to like calm down and like try to like gather my thoughts, you know. So I've been doing like guided meditations, which is just like more like breathing, or like called not awareness, but
body scans. Those are
yeah,
cool. I like those a lot too.
because I used to like I still do struggle with like disassociating and stuff, because I struggle with mental health as well, you know, and like one of the symptoms is that, and that has helped me a lot because I can just like focus in on something, and then like I'll focus in on like my feet, and then just like focus like on my legs and my knees and like everything, you
Hmm.
know, all the way up, and just I forget what the name for it is. There's like a name for it,
Body scan,
but no, there's like another
like
name.
body awareness, like
Mm,
body scan.
mindfulness.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
mindfulness is, I think.
Mindfulness is like the whole. It's like a. That's like
Okay.
the whole. It's like a blanket term. But yeah, it's a body scan meditation, like where you, oh, focus on your right big toe, focus on the clothes touching your
Yeah.
right thigh. Like I can, like right now, I was gonna say, like right now, if I think about it, I can feel my right sock around my calf.
Yeah.
But if I think about it, you know what I mean. But yeah, since we're talking about meditation, I want to talk about meditation too. But yeah, I remember my fourth rehab. It wasn't like AA. They promoted AA and stuff, but it was mainly like a spiritual kind of rehab, and like they really emphasize on like enhancing your connection with your higher power. Not gonna shout them out. Anyways, And there, dude, we were meditating every night, every single night, mandatory meditation for 30 minutes to the sound of like drums, like from in, like, boom, boom, boom. Like that. That's it. That's it. We would light some candles and stuff, and that's it. Silence all the way around, dude. No, but like I got good at it. And at this rehab, you couldn't have your phone. I was there for like 2 months, and dude, I was good at it. Like I learned how to like if I tap in, like I can be content with whatever's going on around me. Like it did not matter, and I carried that with me. And I relapsed, went back to rehab, and when I went back again, I was like practicing that meditation and that mindfulness and being content with whatever's going on, right? And that was a hard time for me too, because I remember I went back to rehab and my daughter didn't want to talk to me the whole time I was inside, like inpatient PHP and stuff. Like she didn't want to talk to me on the phone. And I was like, and then I wanted to like kick, scream, and shout and like go and use drugs, right? But I leaned into the program, I leaned into God, and I leaned into meditation. And I remember being in PHP at one point because like I got so good, like I didn't know what to do next. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm fine with everything. Like, now what? Nothing. Like, like I remember in PHP, I asked this guy. He was like, he would do the meditations in our groups and stuff. I was like, hey man, like I've gotten really good at meditation. Like I've learned how to become really content with what I'm doing. And I was like, now what? And he was like, you're doing it. Well, fuck you. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I still had. It wasn't until like I found service HNIs and I started doing those kinds of things where I was like, oh, like okay, like I'm content with everything around me, sure, but now I'm moving in purpose. I really want to get back to that. I was talking to my sponsor about it, anyways, and I quit my serving job, so now I'm just 9 to 5. So I have all these evenings off now where I can focus on my recovery. That feels really good.
That's cool.
Yes. There was something you were touching on too, like God, right, and your connection with your higher power, dude. Up like a couple, and I told you about this. I think I shared about it on the podcast too. Like I feel like I was disconnecting from my higher power a little bit, and it's funny because like there's healing and there's structure in the routine, but I just stopped doing the routine. I've been clean now. I think what 14 days, 13 days, and I've been inviting God into my life every day, and like the Upon Awakening reading from Alcoholics Anonymous, it just kind of came naturally. Like God divorced my thoughts from selfish and self-seeking motives, and I've been praying that prayer every morning, and I can feel it again. And I was using weed for like a week, right? And in that week, dude, I felt it, and I saw and things were coming up with my girlfriend, and like my situations where I was just like trying to control everything all around me, and like I'm not gonna get to redemption like that, you know then that brought up something to my head right now. Like from rock bottom to redemption. Like am I in redemption right now? I definitely feel like I am.
I
Um,
mean, I think if you're clean and sober, like
yeah,
you're
and
not full redemption, but like,
you mentioned it like life isn't linear. Like life isn't linear for anybody. You know what I mean? Like millionaire, billionaire. Like your mom's gonna die.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like the stock market's gonna go down a little bit. Like everyone's rock bottoms look different, but dude, like I mentioned earlier, like I'm really glad I can move through shame. Like, dude, I was so stuck for years. Like, I was stuck on the same mindset for years, dude. For years. It was funny because I was moving for like 10 years, just like get high, have fun, party, right? Do party with people, party alone, whatever. And that was enough for me for a while. It wasn't until like I couldn't hold a job. I was fucking up the relationships that I cherished in my life. I was backstabbing the people in my life to get high. It wasn't until these things started happening where I realized, like, okay, well, what the fuck am I doing? Like, all these consequences hurt, right? But like, how can I move forward? Um, Moving through shame, getting out of that mindset has really been like key and pivotal. Yeah, I said that right. Pivotal for my recovery. Um, and it's like it's necessary now. If I didn't have that, and I didn't, they still come up, right? The negative talk, the negative beliefs. But now, like I guess because I've just been in recovery for a while now and taking in all this information, you know what I mean? I don't know. Hopefully, the psychic change is still there, so I can just continue to stay in the work this time. But redemption feels a lot better than rock bottom. That's for sure.
yeah,
I can hold a job today. Like,
that's just so crazy. I was thinking about that a couple of days ago, dude.
tell me more.
Like, bro, I show up on time, if
With
not
your little hat and your
early.
shirt tucked in.
Yeah, if not early to my job every shift,
Uh huh.
And before, like, like if I didn't just not show up, I'd be late as fuck like all the time. And
I wanted to ask about that because you brought it up, and I was thinking about this earlier in the week, last week. Um, like, has your procrastination gotten better, like with things now that you're in recovery?
yeah, definitely. And I think like discipline, has been like a big thing for me, and it's something I struggled. It's something I've struggled with forever, But and I don't want to like make this about the gym, but I think starting to go to the gym and like even if when I don't want to, like I go every day. I'll take like one day off, but other than that, I'll be in there every single day, And it's not because like I want to be there, but it's because I committed to myself that I'm going to do that.
Hmm.
And that was like the first thing that I started to do what I say I'm going to do.
Right, especially when you do that to yourself.
Yeah, because I mean that's how you lose the trust in yourself.
Hmm.
Like like you talk, eh, people talk about like I don't know if I trust myself, and it's because like you let yourself down so many times. You
Yeah,
you say
definitely.
you're gonna do something, and you don't do it, and
Also,
you
when you do that, when you stick with your word to yourself, you start to believe in yourself. Like so, oh, like let's say for example, I relapse and I want to go back to recovery. Oh, well, why am I going to do that? It's not going to work. But like doing these disciplines that we do on a regular basis, like what, even if it doesn't work, I'm going to try my best.
yeah.
And usually, like something good comes from that. Since we're on the topic too, I want to touch on it too. But like, what does the gym do for you besides like the discipline you just mentioned? Doing something you don't want to do on a regular basis.
Dude, honestly, like I think yeah, I lived unhealthy for so long. Like I don't think my health was very great shooting up meth and doing fentanyl, I don't think I was getting all my vitamins and exercise, maybe I
Yeah.
got some exercise walking to the plug's house, but like,
Some cardio.
yeah. But I think like, dude, I remember after I kind of got out of my fog and I got out of that, like the withdrawal state, which took a while, like the first 20 days of sobriety, like I was in hell, bro. Like, I talk about how I was scared to be sick on fentanyl, but like I'm telling you, the withdrawals and being sick off methadone are 1,000 times worse. And going through that was a spiritual experience in itself, and I that is like a big reason I stay committed to this shit too, because I never want to go through that shit again, dude. It was the most painful like thing I've ever gone through, but I I can't when I came out of like the fog, around like day 30, like I just remember telling myself like I just want to like change everything about myself. Like in a year I want to be completely different, unrecognizable, And that's like physically, mentally, spiritually, So I think that's what it does for me, Cuz and it teaches I'm being an addict and an alcoholic, you're so used to this instant gratification, right? And going to the gym and seeing like a slow progress teaches me how to like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's not instant gratification.
Right. How to
Uh,
be content with delayed gratification.
yeah, and so that I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but those are some of the main ones.
For sure. One thing I want to bring up for like the gym, because I love the gym too. The gym's done a lot for me. When I went to do time in 2020, I couldn't do 5 push-ups, bro. I remember riding with the guys and they're doing fucking like hundreds of burpees, hundreds.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't do 5 push-ups, bro. And now I can like drop down to 30 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But that feels good. It's little things. I was at work the other day. And they're like, hey, can you help me with this box? Like it's heavy. And I lifted with my legs, right? I squat down and I'm like, dude, this is light. This lady was like, no, it's heavy. And I'm like, well, you should probably go to the gym. But
Yeah.
so resilience, the term, I remember like thinking about it growing up. It's like, oh, I'm strong. Oh, I can do hard things, right? No, resilience means to get knocked down and come right back to where you were. That's what resilience means, right? Like when something happens, to come back to it. I don't know. I can look up the definition, but and like going, dude, the gym sucks. Like you've been doing it long enough to where it's fun. I've been doing it long enough to where it's fun. But when
Hmm.
you first get in it, it fucking sucks. It sucks. Like, dude, this sucks. Like, and I go with my girlfriend sometimes, and no offense to her, right? But like she'll be lifting, she'll be like, oh, this is hard. I'm like, you're not even at failure yet. Like keep going, right? Like it's all
Yeah.
up here. But when you do something that sucks and get on the other side of it on a regular basis, like it equips you to handle other situations that suck, right? So like when you got here and I was on fire, right, doing H&Is and all these things, like they sucked and they were scary when I first started to do them. But like I was so eager because like I was used to doing things that sucked, right? Walking to the gym, uh, you walking to work, like these disciplines and these resiliencies together, they equip me for other things, other endeavors in life. Like what, this is probably gonna suck, but like I can do it. That's what the gym does for me too.
No.
And also just like that pump just looks good in the mirror, bro. Looks good in the mirror, bro. Got to hit him with the flex in there, dude. Seeing the like the physical progresses of the gym too is like huge for me because I was 160 pounds in my active addiction. How skinny were
Like
you?
178
How
or
much do you weigh now?
230.
Hell yeah, I'm like at 220 right now, and so to see like my rear delt muscle coming in right when I'm doing like reverse flies, I'm like, oh, dude, like that's new. Like I didn't have that in my active addiction.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain level of vanity that comes into it, right? But for me, it's
Ah,
a lot of like,
we're gonna have to
go ahead.
wrap it up.
Oh, what time is it?
I hear,
It's 6:48.
yeah, I hear Emily.
That she wants to come in here.
No. Yeah.
What?
How long have we been going?
Like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe?
Oh, we're good.
Huh?
We're good. I just heard her talk about meeting sheets.
Meat and cheese?
Meeting, meeting sheets.
Oh, all right. Okay, so we'll cut this conversation
Yeah.
and close it. You want to close?
All right. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast, and
Thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. Continue to tune in. We're gonna be touching new topics every week on Tuesday. Um, yeah. Thanks for your
yeah,
support.
that's all we got. Love you guys. Thank